Today we will discuss this basic C program where we will add two numbers. We will not talk about the complete basics such as keywords, identifiers. We will not talk about this completely basic part, but we will rather discuss about this program and all these things, important elements of this program. So let's start from the first. Hash include stdio.h. Hash include is a preprocessor directive. It instructs the compiler to process the program first before compilation, that this stdio.h, this library, all those functions such as printf, scanf, all these functions are included in this library. So they are included in this program, the codes for these functions, this library functions, so that they can work properly in this program. This is a preprocessor directive, hash include. Now the next is int add, int comma int. What is this? This is a function prototype. Function prototype. This is much the same way how we declare variables such as int a, comma b, comma sum. In the same way, we can also declare a function, int add. Here, it's not necessary to give the parameter variable names such as int x, int y. All these names are not necessary. Although you can give the names, we just specify the types here, and the number of parameters we come to know by looking at the function declaration. If you are thinking to define the function before the main, then function declaration is not necessary. But if you are thinking to define the function after the main, then you must declare the function first before using it. Now the next thing is void main. This is the main function. This is where the real C program takes place. This is the main part of the program. Hence the name of the function is also main. This is the return type. Every function has a return type. In the same way how this add has int return type, the return value will be of integer type. And these are the parameter types. Then this is the name of the function. This is void main. Return type of main is void, which means it returns nothing. So main does not have anything. Now the next line of code which comes is int a comma b comma sum. All these three are variables, and these are the variable names. These are identifiers, variable names. As we know, variables store some value. For storing values, we need these variables. And sum equals to 0. This initializes the sum variable with a default value of 0. Although this is not necessary, this is the way how we can initialize, or we can put sum equals to 0 on the declaration of these variables. Now the next line of code after this is printf. Enter first number. This is just prints a prompt in the console, in the terminal, instructing the user to enter a number, and this scanf %d. This tells to read a decimal number or integer number, but %d is the syntax, and comma ampersand a. Ampersand a specifies the address of a. In the address of a, the value whatever the user will enter will be stored, so that this a variable may have the value what the user enters. In the same way, we have the second line as enter second number, and the same %d ampersand b. After this line, what we see is very important, which is sum equals to add a comma b. This is the function call statement. This is function call statement, and here we are passing the actual arguments a and b. These were the formal parameters, and these are the actual parameters. Now when this function is called, the program control will jump to this definition of the function. The program will move to this definition of the function to look what is the code for this function. Now what we see here is the definition of the add function, which was declared here right above here. And here we have two parameters, int x and int y. Here this time we are giving the name of the variables x and y, and here we are declaring sum variable, and sum equals to x plus y, and then return sum. Here in the sum we are storing the value, the sum of x plus y, the addition of x plus y we are storing in this variable, and then we are returning the sum. Although we could have done this directly in one line of code, like return x plus y. These parentheses are completely optional, and we can use this to group them together. We could have done in just one line of code, but for the sake of simplicity and to explain this program, I have done it into 3 lines. And after this function completes execution, then the control will come back here, and then the value whatever it is returned, this since this return type and this sum both are integer, they are matching, so it's correct. And this sum is also integer. Here the sum is returned to this variable. Now after this, we are simply printing a message \n, and this \n means new line. This is a new line escape character. This helps to bring the line in the next position, in the next line, so that it doesn't appear in one single line. For much clarity is used, and also is helpful. The result is %d. Okay, %d again for output. This is the printf syntax, and I'm not going to explain the syntax here. And this is the variable whose value we want to print here. The result is %d. So suppose if users enter first number 5 and enter second number 6, then after this function, this will execute, it will add it, it will do every calculation and performance things. It will do all the operations, calculations this function will do, and after then it will return in this sum variable. Now this sum will store the value 11, and this 11 will be printed here. The result is 11. So this was it, the basic C program to add two numbers.